Hello and welcome to Gang Culture Podcast, a series educating you about gang culture. This season, our host Ellis Rouse continues to talk with an array of unique voices to inspire, empower, and cause change. But also this season, we are exploring alternative activities being offered to teens in Delaware. Whether you are listening at home, school, or on the way to work, we hope you enjoy and share with others.
Welcome back to Gang Culture. I'm your host, Ellis Rouse, and this week we are joined by podcasters Tiffany T. Mormon and Rashid Sheed Purnell. Their friendship goes as far back as high school, where they met, partied together, and lived gang adjacent until getting into recovery. Now with their podcast, Convo from the Throne, they strive to help others get and stay free from toxic lifestyles. T and Sheed, thank you so much for joining us on Gang Culture.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So let's start in the beginning of how you met and what high school was like for you two.
Ladies first.
Oh, geez, thanks. So I grew up in Woodstown, New Jersey, between Woodstown and Pennsgrove, right across the bridge, and went to high school at the Woodstown High School and graduated, went away to college, and came back to visit. And Sheed was my best friend's growing up, her cousin. Yeah. So we partied together out in the woods because there isn't much else to do in Salem County but party, at least not in the 90s. And I think I could speak for both of us when I say we had it modeled in front of us, right? Older cousins, relatives, and it was just an ordinary thing. We didn't know that it wasn't normal. It was normal. It was normal. What we did was normal.
Us. It was normal. We was waiting to get there. You know? Yeah. Absolutely. And I was, like I said, when she came back around, I was just fresh off the porch. My dad was a minister. He was telling me about my family I had in Woodstown, which was the Mendezes, you know. Sorry to say the name, but my dad tried to warn me, like, you know, you got to stay away from things that I raised you not to do. And in my heart, I'm like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You know how a kid is. They feel like I'm turning 18. I'm a grown man now. You know, in my head, I got it all made up. I got it all planned out. And wasn't long before then, I see T and I see all the other people I'm trying to get to, you know, bottles and eyes low.
Cakes.
Like, cakes. Cakes was it.
How do we even get cakes?
Somebody went to the store.
Somebody bought
Somebody it was a cousin that used to always go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to give out too much information, but he used to always go and make sure enough was there, you know. And I was in it. I was in it to win it for a long time, and just I couldn't shake the fact of maybe my dad was right for a long time, you know. But that was our gang, you know. That was our gang. We I wasn't a gang type, you know. I didn't like the fact that if I'm in this gang, like I grew up in Cleveland, then came to Woodstown, so I got blood friends, I got Crip friends. If I be in the blood, I can't be friends with them. They gonna beat me up if I like to fight, but I don't want to fight my friends. So I'm structuring this thought while I'm still young, like, man, well, I can't be in no gang, man. I'm gonna just play basketball. I'm gonna keep playing football, and I would not be in the gang. I didn't want to be associated with just one group. And I'm gonna give it back in the air to you. I can remember one party all the Bloods had, and because my brother was a Blood, I went to the party, and I'm looking, and all red around me, and I hit the weed, and I said, man, the Crips is coming to get these cats here at this party.
You were paranoid?
I got paranoid, and I said, hey, bro, I'm about to leave. Man, we going to be here till about 7. I mean, that's going to be dark. I'm like, no, I'm ready to go. Because my heart was like, my dad was a praying man, so I used to feel these type of feelings like, get up out of there. And later on, they sprayed the whole party up, man. Yeah, right in Cleveland, man. And it was like, you know what? I used to thank my dad. Once I found him, I used to thank him, but I still was mad. You know what I mean? But that's just my little break about a gang.
I was vulnerable, and I think and I've thought about this for a few weeks now. I was vulnerable because the lifestyle. I was attracted to the lifestyle. So growing up in some place like Woodstown, New Jersey, right? The lifestyle was represented on Yo MTV Raps back then. Now I'm telling my age, right? On MTV, VH1, and it was, I can only think of like people like Ill and Al Scratch or like different rappers that were big at that time, and the lifestyle that they showed us. And it was attractive to me. Yep. And growing up where I grew up, the only place that I could find that lifestyle was in the city, like in Camden. And it wasn't even Wilmington at the time, Camden or Philly or Baltimore. And it was attractive. So for a young girl, having grown up in the suburbs, what was attractive was everything that was gang adjacent, the cars, even tinted windows. We take that for granted now because everybody has window tint. But back in the 90s, it was expensive and only certain people had them. And those certain people were drug dealers. The clothes, the jewelry, the parties, the lifestyle. It was attractive to the extent that as soon as I got my license and my dad let me use his car, I learned my way to go to Philly or to go to Camden where I have relatives, or to go to those places where everything that I thought was fun was. And as not that guys aren't at risk, but as a teenage girl, I was street smart, but we were in danger more times than we realized because we were young, we were from the suburbs, and of course we would be taken advantage of in these environments. But it was fun. And it was, thinking back, the lack of protective factors that allowed it to be that way. I grew up seeing this stuff. It took me years to come to terms with the fact that my dad was a bad boy, and my mom had to like bring that out to me. Like, do you think you're the only one that like bad boy? You think that's where you think you didn't get it from me? And I was like,
that's why she was trying to coach you.
Because he had a legit job and he worked hard, but he was well connected. And one of my uncles as well connected, with different motorcycle clubs or different this. Or
I seen the
so
picture.
I grew up, seeing it, and my dad was my Superman.
And that's real.
That's real. And I ended up gang adjacent almost my entire adult life. As a young person, even going away to college, I went to a HBCU, to Lincoln in Oxford, PA. And I found the gangbangers at Lincoln because they were the ones that had access and had, the parties and had whatever you needed or wanted, And it was the lack of, besides for my grandmother and my mom to some degree, they tried, but I did what I wanted to do. But it was the lack of protective factors that made it so easy, in my opinion, to go for that. And I mean, my mom, she had me in Girl Scouts, all the things that I suggested, Girl Scouts. I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity with her, different clubs. I played sports. So it still attracted me. It was like a pool almost. Like I could, as soon as I got my license, like, where the fun is, Mount Ephraim Avenue, skating rink, all these places that it just wasn't safe. But it was fun, or I saw it as fun.
Yeah, and that's crazy, man. That's how the lifestyle is, man. It's easily to get blinded like that. And that's why I say everybody's story different, but it's like a vision that you capture, and it's something that you chase after, and you just go for it. By all means necessary, one way or another, the lifestyle captures you. If you ain't in church every Sunday or up under your mom's skin or dad's skin, it's going to get you. You know what I mean? That's the best thing I could say. And I was in church.
If you choose.
Yeah, I was in church.
If you choose.
Yeah, and I remember you was saying that. But it's like something about it that it gravitated. Like, it was the excitement, And it was fun in the it's always fun in the beginning, and it take a while until you understand, like, after all that time go past, you just like, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. I'm talking about crying out, like, this ain't it. Screaming up to God, like, this ain't it. I ain't kill nobody, but why my life like this, Like, and
that rock bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said how you get pulled in, because I remember growing up and I seen the movie Colors.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was a bad movie.
Growing up in Brooklyn, I mean, it wasn't in New York that there was Bloods and Crips. And funny enough, in that movie, when I watched it, I gravitated to one side, the Bloods. And when when the Bloods and Crips came to the East Coast, I already had my mind made up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there was some other factors that played into it, but I did have my mind made up, and I joined the Bloods, and I always think back to that movie that I seen. Funny enough, I asked my grandmother to buy me the movie.
VHS.
Yeah,
It had to be VHS. Okay.
yeah,
You up
because I
there
heard
with us.
about it, and I
Right.
was like, I want to see this movie.
Okay.
She didn't know what she was buying me.
Right.
I said, I
Wow.
want this movie Colors, and
Yeah.
man, it started something. But yeah, that's really like our culture, what we grow up seeing, and like you mentioned, MTV raps, and I was around a lot of rappers too as growing up. So
We around the same age bracket, so yeah, the visual we seen when we was young, it was attractive, very attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I can remember the first time I heard, and I hate to blame rap. That's not where I'm going with this, right?
Right.
That's not where I'm going with this, but I can remember the first time I heard The Bridge Is Over. And I was like, that was a little girl. I was like, yes, I like this.
Right.
I like this, right? But then as it evolved and more things came into play, it was no longer the KRS-Ones in the world. Now we're talking about other stuff that's not exactly good for us, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because I was already in love with hip hop. So it didn't matter what direction it took me. I was following. I was following, and that was going to be what I was. Like, I remember literally cutting my hair like MC Light, and my mom was so upset because it was so long and it was so healthy. And I came home and it was short here with a line and coming, and I was so happy. And she cried like, "What did you do to your hair?" And I was like, "Well, what you talking about? I saw this on MTV."
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, a kid from the suburbs who, in a different culture, may be told, "Oh, you're not black enough, or you're not rough enough, or you're not hood enough, or you're not this enough." So we were all posers, right? We were all trying to be like Busta
like
Rhymes. We
today.
were all trying to be like MC Light. We were all trying, and so it was deeper than the image and the music because we went with it. There are people still going with it, thinking that syrup is a good thing. Right?
I like what you
Yeah.
just said.
The double cups is a good thing.
Yeah.
There's still
Yeah.
people going with it years later. I'm
Yes.
51. There are still 51-year-olds in the club.
Yeah.
And it started in 1988 with The Bridge Is Over.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And we go with it. And I'm a big fan of hip hop to this day. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand. But when I put on my favorite artist, DMX, I drive faster. I'm driving to the PTA meeting. I'm leaning with my left hand up on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It affects us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it grabs you.
That's heavy.
Yeah,
That's heavy.
absolutely.
Listen, you said posers. When you said posers, I was
We
like,
all
that's,
were in the
yeah,
suburbs.
but it's still like that today all the way, because there's a lot of people that got guns, but when they don't think about the aftershock
The impact.
after you do what you do, and then you sitting behind bars, he's like, oh my goodness,
What
life.
did I do?
You
Trying
know,
to be like who?
life.
Yeah,
And you ain't
yeah.
even built for that. You're not built for the gun. You're not built for the time. You're not built for none of that. But you got attracted to something. You wanted to be down so bad, and now look where you at. And there's so many people that got that story. That's why our first podcast that we
Yeah.
did, it was like escaping the lifestyle,
Escaping
because
the
that was so
lifestyle.
heavy. It was something we prayed about. Like, yeah, we're gonna see, what we come about that. But escaping a lifestyle is so hard, because a lot of people gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to escape
Experience,
that.
yeah.
You're gonna have to, man.
Yeah.
And not to talk bad about the suburbs, because I would not trade in where I grew up in South Jersey for anything.
Oh, no.
Because we were
It
a
was
melting
beautiful.
pot of black, white, Latino. Didn't
Yeah,
matter. We
yeah.
all played together. We fought together. We ran football together in the streets, girls
dirt.
and boys, and it was a good wholesome upbringing.
Yeah.
But it left something to be desired when I looked at the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
We didn't
city
have tall
life.
buildings. We didn't have lights and it was stars and horses and cornfields at night, right?
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the suburb. I grew up in the city, growing up in Brooklyn, and like the projects was right there where I grew up in a private house. I was privileged to have that. My mom worked hard,
That's right.
And but I did picture like living in the suburbs, like what that
Wow.
would be like. I used to like
It was beautiful.
I used to think like, man, I would love to do that.
I can actually say I came from, so I moved from Cleveland and I moved to,
And you were in the hood in Cleveland, right?
in the hood, right? So I moved to Jersey and I first seen a cow and I said, it's over. In my head, I'm like all the woods and seeing the city. I'm like Jason and Freddy Krueger.
Scared.
I'm like, and it was crazy. It was a whole different vibe for me, man. Just thinking about all my boys. I'm like, man, they gonna think I'm soft if I call back. Back home, you can pick up the landline and, yeah, man, I'm good. My dad, nice driveway, go up, but see his house is away from the road. And so I used to be in the house every day, but no gangster up in me. I got 2 knives.
Scared.
Scared.
They lived out in the woods.
Out in the
dark.
woods. But he don't got no curtains up and nothing like that. So I'm like, man, I am very scared. Like, that's how scared I was.
Wow.
2 knives, and he'd come in working from DuPont, and I'd be sleeping, the fella sleeping. He'd kind of sneak up on me and, wake me up like, son, like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I was just getting adjusted to that. I'd never been like that, but it was so peaceful. Now that I'm old, it's so peaceful at night. Crickets, and you see lightning bugs all out in the yard. It was just beautiful then.
Wow.
I mean, now, but then it wasn't,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was good, but I can remember, like I said, when I got my driver's license, running to the city every
Sure.
chance I got. And now, fast forward years later, my family and I, we live in the country. And I love it. And I still visit
beautiful.
the city to go to a concert, and it's right back home. I just, give me the horse in the back with the crickets at night, But it took years to get to a place where I was comfortable being who I am without being gang adjacent, without having the chaos, without having the fun that was really danger. Right? There were so
what
many
it is.
stories that, like Sheed saying he left before a house was shot up. So many things that happened that sometimes I think, wow, I'm still here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So when you say you grew up gang adjacent, what was that life like? What was that for you?
I mean, it was. I had a clear mind. I had my mindset. I wasn't a scaredy cat at all. I would fight, but I ain't want to be just connected to one thing. And then like I think that people that was in gangs, they was just, they was lost for words for how their family was it. Like when crack hit, that broke a lot of things up, and a lot of people was looking for a lot of different type of love. When drugs came, love broke. You know what I mean? And it left people like, man, mom's leaving, dad's leaving, relationships broken, and they like, man, next best thing is, man, I'm about to join the gang, man. They welcome you with open arms. You ain't got to do much but sacrifice your whole life to be with us, And right then and there, they like, man, I want it, I never was that cat. I never was a follower. Never been a follower. I might have did my own thing, and like I seen somebody do it, and I might follow and do it and understand my own way, but never a gang, man. Never a gang. I look at it, my boys in it, and the Vice Lords, Bloods, Crips. What's up, man? Come on, what you gonna do? Boy, you scared? Nah, I'm cool, man. I'm about to go home, do homework, lying. I'm not doing homework. I'm just going home. I had an Uncle Roscoe from Cleveland. He was from Pittsburgh, but he used to be like, man, all your boys is... He used to call us jive turkeys. Old school guys.
Jive turkeys.
Jive turkeys. He said, all your boys, they ain't about nothing. They want you to be in this gang, that gang, that gang. He said, all of them going to end up dead or in jail. And I believe that back then. Because my boy hard. He had knocked somebody out. You know what I mean? But what about the world? And I just used to be that dude, just neutral. Not with this gang. You can come, but I ain't. Them other 3, all that red, come on, bro. Let's go play football, basketball. That's how I used to direct them. I promise you, Yeah.
What about you, T?
For me, my dad was well connected. I'll put it that way. And I had one uncle that was the same. And I just had a thing for bad boys. So it was always about dating for me. I always dated gang members, drug dealers. For, I want to say, from 16 to about 21. And then after that, I changed. And I can't take credit for it, I give all credit to God. I can't take any credit for it because it wasn't something that I wanted to do, honestly. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. But for me, it was a need for belonging, validation, tell me I'm pretty type thing. And they would, and then say, take this car over here and do this for me. And I just thought, well, he told me I'm pretty and he loves me. So I don't need to ask any questions.
Man,
Yeah.
that sounds like a gang to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
certain things that you're looking for, right? They give you, right? In small
Yeah.
bits and pieces. You know, you got to
Gang
do very
adjacent.
little for
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. When I joined the Bloods, I remember my popularity went from regular to like, whoa. Like,
Yeah, ego.
It's the lifestyle.
and even like it was a female rapper that just wanted to date me after she found out who I was connected to and all of that. And so I understand I can understand where you're coming from, where like people get pulled into this thing.
Yeah.
And young women are vulnerable if there, in my opinion, there are certain factors present, like a father that is not there, right? Or a dysfunctional family setting, or a history of some sort of assault or some sort of trauma, or because we're looking for, and I'm not saying it doesn't affect guys the same, but we're looking for someone to say, I love you, you're okay with me. And even if you're a moral, dealer, like she says he was, you still will take the opportunity to manipulate a young girl from the suburbs who just wants to hear, I love you, you're beautiful, right? So imagine what someone who isn't exactly moral and caring would do. They would let you take the fall. And I had probably at least one relative and two girlfriends that took falls and went and got into legal trouble helping one of these guys. And it's only the grace of God that it didn't happen to me. That's all. So I don't take any credit for it.
Yeah.
And I want to just excuse the name when I said what I said. Y'all know who I'm talking about, but because it's on my heart to say that they made a full 360 turn from
he's a
how they
pastor
used
now.
to be. He's a pastor now. And I just wanted to bring it just hit me on my heart just to say that like the whole concept of what we looked at back then has turned upside down, and it's like the whole family is together now, you know, and it's beautiful. So it just goes to show with time people understand life, and they're like, you know what, that ain't it. Let me go. Thank you, God,
but it's
you know?
okay though, because he's not the one that bought the alcohol, because he was younger than me.
Yeah, you're right.
He was
right.
younger
But we
than
had
me.
a ball. we had a ball
Out in the
just-
woods.
In the woods, mosquitoes smack. I don't
Right.
even,
You don't even feel the
You
mosquitoes.
don't even feel them. The mosquitoes didn't even bite you because they ain't want to get drunk. You know, straight up. So,
Do you see a correlation between gangs and addiction?
oh yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. That's a relationship. You know, I don't know a sober gang member. You know, I'm just saying, like, with the lifestyle of every gang member I ever known, always a party, always intoxicated, and that's how it's gonna be. It ain't no other way. Not we sitting at the table like, how we gonna be good today? Ain't none of that going on. Or we ain't drinking today and nothing like that. We got to come up with some better plans. Ain't nothing positive coming out of that. And I ain't saying that they might. I don't know. It's been
I
years.
actually knew one. I knew one. My uncle was like that. And he was in the lifestyle, and he never drank, never smoked,
he was
never used
solid.
drugs, never did. He had other vices, but he never. And he said, and I asked him one time, I said, why? He said, because I see how crazy people get.
Ooh,
He never.
that was
never,
supposed to happen just like that.
He's
See what I
gone
was
now.
spitting?
Rest
See what I
in
was
peace.
spitting?
He's
See-
gone now. But
I
he said he
ain't never
never,
met with- that's
never,
right.
ever.
He was
never
smart.
smoked cigarettes, never smoked weed, never drank, never did drugs. And I asked him.
And that's raw. That's
I said,
hard to
because
do.
I see how crazy it makes you.
yeah.
But you did mention he had other vices.
Yeah.
So there's an addiction, but it may not be the same.
The
as,
same.
Same,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because some it could be women and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
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 And that's what I was
And
saying.
it's all addiction.
Yeah,
Addiction is addiction is
yes,
addiction.
it is. Yes,
Being
it-
addicted, and we talk about that
One
on our
way or another.
podcast. Being addicted to chocolate is no
Yeah.
different than gambling and sex and alcohol. It's all addiction.
One way
and
or
it just
another.
presents differently.
Yeah.
Like I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke weed anymore. But I have a really hard time collecting things. Like I had to stop collecting coffee mugs because I had nowhere to put them. You know, and then I started collecting something else, and and it's like, okay, I need to.
So that's what it is.
I need to
So
stop
hoarding.
this.
Work on that, yeah.
Did you both decide to go into recovery together, or did you both just happen to get clean around the same time?
Well, I'm saying I was getting myself together, right? Doing dumb reels on Facebook because I was battling with my other guy. It's always you versus you when you're trying to actually get to where you're going, right? It's only you. So I'm talking Facebook like, yeah, you know, on the back porch of a recovery house. And I'm saying, you know what? It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a good day. Saying positive stuff because this is what I need to hear. I need to say it. I need somebody to like it. Emoji me real quick on this one and let me know that I'm doing the right thing. Not fully explaining, but I used to have a filthy mouth. So with the filthy mouth came T, and she hit me on Messenger and kind of reached out, was like, hey, buddy, I want to talk to you about something. I'm going to bring something to your attention. She called, reached out, we talked, and she basically said, like, if you can give up cussing, we can make something happen. And I'm going to let her take it from there.
Yeah. I wanted it to be a family-friendly podcast,
Yeah.
right? So I said that to him, but we were separate for years. I hadn't seen him in years, and I saw him on Facebook, and he was doing videos and reels talking about his life now in recovery. And I was like, oh, he's in recovery, because I was looking for something that people would listen to reflect how it feels to get free and how you get free from any type of toxic behavior and
type of-
stay that way. And so I wrote a poetry book, and that was great. And I'm like, most people don't read books that I know. Oh, a podcast. So I thought, but who wants to listen to just me for an hour once a week? And I need a guy's voice. Yeah, I need a guy in recovery. And I saw him on Facebook, and that's how that started. But I was sober. I got sober the first time in 96, May of 96, and stayed that way for years. Went through some really hard stuff, relapsed, started drinking again for about 6 years or so, and then stopped drinking again. And it's been, 6 years? Yeah. Going on 6 years in September. I think that's right. I don't know. I lose time.
Yeah.
2021. So what's
Congratulations.
that?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I had stopped drinking again when I saw his video and wanted to do this podcast. So here we are.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what is something that any parent, child, or listener can do about gangs in their neighborhood or school?
You gotta come together. That's what you gotta do. You know, I'm an entertainer, so sometimes it could be a serious question, but in order to find peace and in order to have that happiness, right, you gotta break that character and let people know it's okay to be not corny, but just
Be
outspoken.
yourself.
Be
Yeah.
yourself, man. You know, you gotta come together, man.
I think it starts with communication in the home. One of the things that I can't take all the credit for it, my husband and I both tried to do with our kids, they're adults now, is talk. Because I can say as a parent, there are times that I thought something was going on. I was dead wrong. And then I sit down and I talk to them, and they're like, no, Mom, that's not what it is. A lot of us being parents of middle schoolers, high schoolers, college students, we can't relate to their world. They grew up in a world that does not exclude cell phones, right? We grew up in a world where we had the phone on the wall with the cord and have to sit close to it, and we evolved with cell phones and computers and the internet. We can't relate to what they experience day in and day out. So the only way to know for sure what's going on is to talk to them.
Yeah.
And an example I could give you is my son played football in high school, And I used to try to get him to go to things like the homecoming. He would go to the parade and then come home. I'm like, why didn't you go to the dance? Why didn't you, or get him to do some of the things they did after the games. He'd be like, no, Mom, no. And I'm like, what? And then after he graduates and he's in college, he's like, oh, those kids were popping pills. And I was like, well, why didn't you just say that instead of saying, I don't want to go? But having that conversation about it, that's where it starts. Because how do we even know? Right. 9 times out of 10, school administrators don't know, in my opinion. They don't know, the dark stuff that's going on in schools.
And they be dark.
Or neighborhoods.
Yeah, they be dark.
I think that, I've seen, and I don't remember their names, so forgive me, but I've seen different leaders of different gangs come together for peace efforts, right? To bring peace. So there's responsibility there as well. And I certainly wouldn't encourage anybody to join a gang, but I do know people who are in gangs who have grown and evolved in a way that they're doing things like this, like you are, right? So I know that it's possible that there's a role that the gangs can play as well to say, and I actually had someone that I care about attempt to go out into the street years ago, and the guys told him, you don't belong out here. You don't belong out here. You're too smart. Go back and do your homework, or so there is some responsibility as well on what I would call the OGs, the guys who
they see it like,
have been through, a lot and survived and lost a lot of kids along the way to step up and say, nah, you need to go home,
Yeah. And I'll add to that. You mentioned coming together and communication. So, for me, I told my mother I was going to join the Bloods. Yeah. And she said, well, if you're going to do that, I need to meet the head guy. So
your mom is a boss.
Yeah.
I like that.
So when they had their conversation, there was something established right there. Right. And her thing was, if he's going to be a part of this, you're responsible for what happens because you're the head guy. And if something happens to him, I'm going to look for you.
Yeah.
And he never wanted that to happen. So,
I bet.
So he took care of me. He made sure I was good.
You had a red carpet entrance.
That's rare.
That's different. That's
right.
Real different because the average person,
yeah.
And listen, she like, my son, let me talk to him. And by going to him, that put a flag under him like, man, this is rare. This ain't a regular
No.
Come up and I need to be part of something. Nah, she cares about her son, so I got to do this right.
Yeah.
But think about the kid that's 16 now, 15, 16 now, whose mom is strung out on pills. The last thing she's going to be worried about is talking to that guy saying, protect my baby. If anything, she's going to use that kid as a pipeline to get what she needs, right?
What they got.
Yeah. And it's like that,
it's rough,
like right here in Wilmington.
But that's
Absolutely.
what it is, man. That lifestyle, man. That's all I can say is that lifestyle is very toxic all the way around the border because it become a selfish thing. And the person around the person is always about self. You know what I mean? That's why my biggest thing was come together. And I am in a gang right now. The gang I
sober
am.
Gang.
Yeah, sober gang. You know what I mean? I give them a shout out right here
shout
on
out
this.
Sober Gang.
If anybody want to know, sober gang is a gang that's sober. We understood life and we found out, you know what? This is the best way we ever came across, and we're big. It's still big, but we ain't like how we used to be, and it died down, but we about to rebirth it and actually, put everything on the table, man, come together and just, man, and push this because kids need to understand that love comes from people that genuinely love you, that want no harm from you. We ain't ask you for nothing. We just want you to understand life. We done been through everything you done been through. Trust and believe. I know your parents probably done told you this, or they might not tell you that, but that communication part is the biggest thing because if a parent tell their kids what they went through to get to where they at, the real story, the dark story, the kid might drop a tear and be like, Mom, I just want to be here. Do you want me to do dishes? Do you want me to fold clothes? Do you want me to sweep the floor? real stuff like that, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned Sober Gang. So Sober Gang started out as a Facebook page for people in recovery because a guy that lived locally would walk into the AA or NA meetings and say, Sober Gang, right? So it started out, or gang, you know, and it started out as a Facebook group, and it kind of grew into an AA meeting and all sorts of stuff. And then just like any other group with humans in it, kind of fell off a little bit, but it is a group of individuals, not all of them here in Delaware, that I don't know how many people are in the group at this point, but
the Facebook page is about 1,000. I think they reached 1,000 last year.
Yeah.
I ain't even been looking. I ain't even been in the message group because I stayed like connected to about 5 of them.
Yeah.
That's right here in Delaware, and then one in North Carolina, which is Dame, like one of the original guys that put it together and stuff like that. But I'm like, yeah,
we have sweatshirts and everything.
Yeah, sweatshirts and everything.
Sober Gang.
Yeah,
but the vision, once I tapped into it, I'm like, man, I'm all the way ahead. But y'all just right now, y'all got to think this could be something real big because we can change a lot of the outcome of where the kids are going today. Because the music right now, man, 6'7", that's all my daughter's. I see y'all over there laughing. Yeah, 6'7". Listen, I'm like, you ain't even 6'7" yet.
Yeah.
You just now, you still 5. So don't say nothing about 6'7". And like I be funny with it because that's my heart, and I be so hard on her because I see a lot of me in her. You know, like she just like me, it'd be burning me up, man. I just like, you know what? I gotta be a real dad, and I gotta tell her the real truth about what I went through and what we went through to get right here at this present moment right now. And I don't bite nothing. I let her know everything. Just like we in the car, she be like, Dad, did we used to stay at that hotel? We stayed at all the hotels. Yeah, your dad I was a bum. I was selfish. I didn't care about nothing but what I wanted. It was all about my money, and me, I was my gang, my own gang, you know what I mean? And I ain't like that. So, but today, man, Sober Gang, the best gang. That's all I know. Sober
I would
gang
like
for
to
life.
shout out Sober Gang.
Absolutely.
And
Shout
thank
out.
you for sharing that.
Yo, absolutely.
Yeah. And Dom and
Dom,
Dame, who started it.
Dom, we love you. We love you. Yes,
That's
we do.
awesome. Well, T and She, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And I hope to join you guys,
Absolutely.
you know, what you're doing,
Yeah, definitely.
you know, sometime, and we could continue this movement.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Everything happened for a reason. That's all I know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The
for sure.
movement. The movement is good.
Keep
man.
doing what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
We hope you found this episode informative. We look forward to continuing the conversation, and stay tuned for our next episode.
You're listening to a production from The Cause. Learn more at causetheworld.com.